I didn't know what it was I was going to talk to you about tonight, and so I tried to pick a topic which was sufficiently broad and ambiguous that whatever I thought I would talk about would fit. However, what I've decided to talk about doesn't fit. Well, maybe it does. That every human culture has considered itself at the center of the universe. What's this about? People made up stories about the stars. They invented Rorschach tests up there, follow the dots, constellations. Look like a bear to you, Og. Yes, I guess it does. And then forced their children to memorize these absolutely arbitrary patterns. I don't see the bear's tail, Dad, shut up. And then myths were invented either before or after. So these were visual reminders of stories. The bear ate your grandpa, something like that, was put up in heaven as an example. Or there was the story first, and then people put the bears up there. Now, the most superficial examination of the sky shows the stars are rising in the east. Some of them pass directly overhead, and some of them pass on small circles close to the horizon. But they all rise in the east, they all set in the west. And then, in the daytime, they do something else. They somehow go around the bottom of the Earth that none of us has ever seen. It's flat as a board, of course. It's flat as a board, of course. It's flat as a board, of course. And then the next morning, they come up again in the east. Now, there's absolutely no doubt from this fact that the stars, the planets, the sun, and the moon all go around us, and we're obviously not moving, that we are at the center of the universe. It's an observed fact. Anybody who denies that there's something wrong with them. This is the geocentric conceit. So, you know the story about what happened next, except for a little blip associated with the name of Aristarchus of Samos. We went on, every human culture, every great philosopher, every scientist, every religious leader, thinking we were at the center of the universe. We put it in various guises in our scriptures, declared the scriptures to be infallible, thereby making it not just a secular, but a religious crime to even think about the issue, until in the late 15th century, a astronomer, cleric from Poland named Nicholas Copernicus thought he had an alternative idea, namely that the sun was at the center and the Earth, like the other planets, went around it. Mathematicians find that if you wish to know where Jupiter will be 2 years from next Wednesday, you can get a good answer by assuming that the sun is at the center. This is a mere mathematical fiction, and it does not challenge our holy faith, and please have no emotional angst in reading this book. And this peculiar split brain compromise actually lasted for almost 2 centuries, in which people actually said, well, it's all right, it's only for mathematicians. The Bible says the Earth is at the center, we all believe that. The Bible says the Earth is at the center, we all believe that. And shortly thereafter, Galileo made his famous confession in which he abjured the abominable doctrine that the sun and not the Earth was at the center. But the stage had been set, the debate went on, and when in the 18th century Bradley discovered the aberration of light, and then in the 19th century the long-sought annual parallax was found, the opposition collapsed. And now everybody is taught that the Earth is not at the center of the universe. Except, I think there's a lot of evidence that we are all geocentrists with a heliocentric veneer that's been painted on us. I think there's a lot of evidence that we are all geocentrists with a heliocentric veneer that's been painted on us. If you were an intergalactic traveler coming into the Milky Way, what would you think if someone had said, "Excuse me, Captain, that's the center of the Milky Way, it's true, but count out spiral arms with me. See, there's one, there's another one really big and beautiful, there's another one. Then over there you see that somewhat obscure spiral arm? Well, don't look exactly in it, but just a little out of it. See over there? I know it's hard to see. Take a closer look, right there. No, not that one. That one, see? Yeah. The guys who live on that one say they're at the center of the universe, and the entire universe is made for their benefit. What would you think of those guys? And then suppose you had the information, there's not one soul on that planet who thinks otherwise. Every one of them thinks they're at the center of the universe. Then there was a moment when the Hubble flow was discovered, when it was found that the galaxies are all running away from us, the more distant galaxies running away the faster, as if we had committed some dreadful cosmic social blunder. When there were people who breathed a sigh of relief, this was in the 20s of this century. Look, we're at the center. Our galaxy, at least, we're not at the center of our galaxy, okay, but our galaxy is at the center of the entire universe. And this is based upon a serious misapprehension. There is no center to the universe, at least in ordinary three-dimensional space. And astronomers on any one of these galaxies would see all the others running away from them in the same way that we do. Think, for example, about our language. Sunrise. I was up before sunrise. Sunset. It was a gorgeous sunset. But the sun isn't rising or setting. The Earth is turning. Think of how difficult it is for us to simply parse a simple word or phrase which conforms to the Copernican perspective. Recent opinion polls show that 25% of adult Americans do not know that the Earth goes around the sun and takes a year to do it. In China, the figure is 70%. We do hear that the sun is at the center, and still a quarter of us have missed it. And in China, you can see where there isn't a NASA and where the television programs are much less sophisticated. A much larger percentage of people have missed it. If anything like China is typical, it may be that today, 5 centuries after Copernicus, most people on this planet still think, in their heart of hearts, that the Earth is at the center. Shortly after Copernicus, there were people who said, okay, maybe we're not at the center of the universe, maybe the sun is, but we're close to the sun. Look, we're almost at the sun. So we're almost at the center of the universe, it's almost as good. Well, the answer is no. We are not at the center, where it looks important, or at least well lit. Instead, we are in, or at least near, an obscure spiral arm 30,000 light years from the center of the Milky Way galaxy, in the galactic boondocks. We could not have been put here as caretakers because we have not been taking care. A, because we weren't here, and B, because when we have been here, we haven't been doing very well either. Then there was the view that if there is nothing special about our position in space or our position in time, there's something special about our motion. We have a privileged frame of reference. This was the classical absolute motion physics that every great physicist bought into until 1905. Albert Einstein, a keen critic of privilege in the social sphere, immediately mistrusted the contention that the planet we happen to live on was affixed to an imaginary frame of reference, that the planet we happen to live on was affixed to an imaginary frame of reference which had special merit with regard to the laws of nature, and instead asked what kind of physics would it be if you deduced the same laws of physics no matter what planet you lived on and what star you lived on. And that is one approach to special relativity, which is repeatedly confirmed and is the way the universe is put together. Another chauvinism biting the dust. 99.998% of the lifetime of the universe from its beginning to now was over before any human appeared on the scene. So if we are the caretakers, where have we been for most of the time we're supposed to be doing our job? We have been terribly lax. I could see that the chief gardener might be very annoyed with us, which in turn might explain a great deal. There are people who find it very upsetting, who still long to be at the center. We and the chimps have a common ancestor. They're our cousins. This contention really makes a lot of people upset. Have you been to a zoo lately? Have you looked at what a chimpanzee does? Maybe you're related to chimps, buddy, but I'm not.
I want to know what your views were on astrology. I know it's a related science to astronomy.
On what?
On astrology, extrasensory
Astrology
perception.
is a hoax.
What, excuse me?
It's a hoax.
Hoax?
H-O-A-X.
So,
why should we take any steps to save ourselves if an asteroid is going to hit the Earth, since asteroids have hit the Earth in the past? And, you know, others have gone, so we might be here, so we'll go, so, you know, whatever it is, the raccoons will have their chance, or the ants, or the sulfur oxidation state altering submarine worms will inherit the Earth. The evidence for not just the so-called higher apes, but running through the apes and the monkeys, to me is very persuasive that they have thoughts. Not only deep philosophical thoughts, but useful practical thoughts, like lying, like deceit, like planning to fool others, thinking about it far in advance. And since I happen to be, it's an accident of birth, a human being, to justify human beings trying to survive under sometimes trying circumstances. That's my judgment. I'm sure if, you know, I were a lizard up here, I would be talking about, yes, let's sacrifice the humans so we can get better medicine for the lizards. After all, I'm a lizard. I'm sorry, I can't help it.